I'm fashionably late, 5 minutes late for this final live. 15 days on my road to Rapture. Wow. Missed out one day, but hey, that's the perfection of the imperfection. So today's live is riffing on Rapture. And this song is called The Rapture. It's by, can't read, it's by and me. Thank you for letting me use it. Oh, so welcome, namaste. Hello. Oh, it feels exciting to be here today. I think I said that yesterday, but yeah, it's exciting. It's the day before my book goes live for sale on Amazon, and also now I have a copy without the mark across it. So I have a new beautiful copy with all the edits and the additions and without that mark that says not for resale. Oh, just got cut off for a second. That's the back and this is the front. Yay, so exciting. So today I'm just gonna riff, all the other days this week as I've been going live, I've, really sat and meditated and journaled before coming on so that what I've shared has had some structure. And, my divine masculine has been really brilliant, helping me, supporting me all the way through this process. My divine masculine has been with me all the way. And there's a lot to do when you publish a book yourself. There's probably when you don't do it yourself as well, actually. There's a lot to do. And yesterday I was up very late just kind of getting the Kindle edition of the book formatted, because even though I'm the kind of person who I love a hard copy because I love to underline things and highlight them, and I like having the book in my hands. I know that a lot of people now like or prefer or also have a Kindle or a different app so that they can read their books online. So I was like, right, I've got to do the Kindle edition as well. So I did that yesterday and I went to bed really late. So if I look a bit tired, that's why. But I'm also really excited. So yes, today is going to be less structured, although I did, as I was just dancing, just jot a few things down that just came spontaneously that I'd like to share today as I riff on Rapture. And one of the first things that I'd like to share, I'm just going to take a sniff. This is Mogra. It's like pure jasmine from India. That's Rapture. I tell you, that is Rapture in a bottle. Why am I talking about Rapture? If you're watching this and you don't know, I am publishing my book tomorrow, Rapture, A Guide to Sexual and Spiritual Awakening for Women. And I'm launching the next round of that course that runs through the year on October the 28th. I'll tell you what else is Rapture, is these lilies. These lilies, just look at those. They were part of the birthday bouquet from my kids for my 57th birthday last Thursday. And I can actually smell them a little bit. They're beautiful. Look at that. That's Rapture. That right there. Woo! That can make me orgasmic, I tell you. So yes, we're going to begin as we riff on Rapture today, asking, what is Rapture? What is it? Because people ask me that question, I've written this book. I've given it that title. Well, actually, I didn't give it that title. The title was dreamt up for me by Ari Lou Began, who's going to be giving us a beautiful cosmic conversation oracle card reading angelic Reiki download as part of the book launch event tomorrow, Saturday, October the 9th. She dreamt that title. I never know exactly, so I have to say somewhere between 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, she dreamt this title for me as I was first beginning to write. So what does it mean? Why have I chosen that? Why was I chosen to write this book about Rapture? And that's a beautiful place to begin. And as I speak, feel free to write your own understanding of what that is underneath. It's not like I'm going to be telling you a truth that is the truth. This is just my truth that I'm passionate and called to share. So as I was feeling into this morning, because I give a different answer to what is rapture, and hello and welcome. What is rapture? Everyone asks me. I never have a pre-prepared answer. When you do all these marketing courses and stuff, they're like, oh, you're supposed to have this like one-line sentence that you give as an answer. And I don't like that. That already feels too constricting for me. What I prefer to do is to just hear the question in the moment and answer spontaneously whatever arises within me in that moment. That's how I like to flow. That's how I like to riff, right? So this morning, the first thing, as I said rapture to myself, the very first thing that came to mind was, the painting, Michelangelo's very famous painting, where there's the man in the sky. I don't know what it's called, so if you know what it's called, please tell me. It's very famous. It's in the Sistine Chapel in Rome. Let's not go there about the whole stuff about the church for a moment. Just have that image. There's the man in the sky, his naked body, and he's reaching with his fingertip, and it's like God's finger comes down and they're touching, right? So in a way, that image of the human and the divine, for me, it's not about whether it's a man or a woman, just the image of a human touching God, right? And of above and below meeting. That, for me, is one image, one suggestion that evokes the experience of rapture. Because for me, what the experience of rapture is the experience of oneness with Source, the experience of oneness with divinity, while still fully inhabiting the human body. So it's like this cosmic merger of self and source, of body and spirit, of above and below. And in that experience of total merger, of total meeting, of oneness, of no separation, right? In that moment, I am that I am. I am the all. I am one with the all. I am spirit made flesh. And there is no past, there is no present, there is only this now moment. And my experience of that in my body is ecstatic. It is rapturous. It is a feeling of complete and utter letting go of the self, a complete and utter surrender of all that I think I am and identify with is all gone. And I am just experiencing the pure bliss of being. That, for me, is my definition of rapture this morning anyway, right? But you tell me what yours is. And of course, if you think about paintings of the rapture in the Christian tradition, again, I'm not going to go into the whole discussion of the church and all that right now, but there are many paintings of saints right back through the ages who experienced what would be described as a spiritual rapture. And quite often, if you look at those paintings, they are kind of looking up, and their eyes are big, and they are experiencing this awe, this wonder, this overcoming them, right? For me, that expression on their countenance in their body is very similar to how a woman may look when she's having an orgasm. Like, it's that same feeling. And what is that experience when we're having an orgasm, or when we are orgasmic? Because remember, ladies, we are orgasmic, right? It's not just about like racing for an orgasm and then that's it. It's like living orgasmically. That's what rapture is all about, right? It's living orgasmically. But when we're experiencing this, there's a letting go, there's a surrender, there's no control, there's no holding on, there's no identification. All our worries are gone. There's no trials, there's no tribulations. There's just pure and utter essence of divinity in our body, which we experience as love, bliss, joy, ecstasy, right? That's it. And what I'm here to share is that that is your true nature. That is the potential available for you, not just in sex with someone, but in living your life, in being you as woman, right? And the gateway to this is coming into the body. The gateway to this is connecting with your sexuality as sacred. The gateway to this is reclaiming all your emotions. And as you enter that gateway and activate this energy and remember who you are, you know, I did a whole series of lives a few months ago called Remember Who You Are, because most people in the world have forgotten who they are. Most women in the world have forgotten who they are. There has been this shrouding for centuries through the patriarchal matrix system. Shrouding, dimming, hiding, constricting, restraining, shutting down, shaming, blaming, contracting, stopping, controlling, right? The rapture experience is about casting all of that off. All of it off. Having it off. Taking it all off. Off. And reclaiming the radiant essence that's right there underneath it all, in your body, in your heart, in your womb, in your cunt, right? All of it there, shimmering, shining, electrifying, magnetic, powerful, fierce, uncompromising. All expressions of Shakti, all of her, everything. She is everything. She's all of nature, for fuck's sake. And here we are, like, putting ourselves into these little boxes, you know, contained. She's wild. She's free. She's changing, mutating, creating all the time. That is what this pathway of rapture gives us access to. Another thing that came to my mind this morning as I was dancing and before coming live today, my mum came to mind. My poor, beautiful mum who died. And the little surge of sadness always comes in when I speak to this. She died May 2020, May the 20th, 2020. You know, her whole life lived as a victim. Her whole life lived in resentment and bitterness. Her whole life lived in the not expression of who she really is. Chained to the kitchen sink, chained to the domestic duties, chained to serving, but serving not from love and compassion, serving from a misguided sense of duty and obligation, resenting all of those duties. Shut down, bullied by her husband, bullied, controlled, demeaned, shut up. That was her life. And in contrast to that, I think of my own life, my own unfolding, my own healing, my own initiation. And I think of the women on my Awakening Shakti course who I sat with the other day, and as they came onto the call, expressing what is typical to see in women and in people out there in the world, like this sense of having a busy life, being caught up in a lot of mental activity, displaying signs of stress in the body-mind. You know, so much going on. And then after 20 minutes of orgasmic chakra breathing, bliss, radiant, glowing, shining, still. Right? That's our true nature. That's what's missing from the world. That's why I'm so passionate about teaching this stuff. Because in the reclamation of this, our true essence, and the integration, of course, of our true essence with our divine masculine counterpart within, we're blessing the world. You know, there's this myth, and this is part of the control system, that tells us that pleasure is a privilege, that tells us that pleasure isn't a priority, that tells us that pleasure is selfish, it tells us that our desire is dirty. Well, I spoke yesterday about how I'm here to flip the script. These are lies that have been taught us to control us, to dim us, to diminish us, so that we are not standing fully in our sovereignty and our power, which starts at the base, right? So, I've completely lost my train of thought now. I want to read you a quote. This is a quote that I've posted on my Facebook wall today, but of course people are going to watch this video who aren't on my Facebook or don't get to read that. Oops, just made the phone shake. Sorry about that. And this quote, like, I just happened to see it this morning when I went on social media. And for me, this just speaks exactly to Rapture. And we're riffing with Rapture this morning. Oh, look, there's me. Okay, just going to read this to you. So this is from Chris Bale, who is, how would I describe him? He probably uses better words, but I would say for me, he stands as a true teacher of an embodiment of the divine masculine, the healthy divine masculine in the world. He teaches and empowers men to stand in that for themselves. And he also does a lot of energy work and healing with women so that they can get to experience this rapture for themselves. So he's a man who does this work, and I'm a woman who does this work. And I really respect and admire him. And I did an amazing interview with him for my Heart to Heart show, which you can find on YouTube. He's incredible. So let's hear this. Let's feel this. It's really important that you feel these words and don't just intellectualize them. A woman's sensual spectrum is of multi-dimensional capacity, which goes far beyond friction-based sex. Hallelujah. Friction is the most minuscule aspect of her capacity. Hail Mary. She exists far more in the realm of soul subtlety. She is frequency-based. Through accessing her frequency, she experiences much more pleasure and intimacy. Indeed, it is so. Woman is a portal. Yes, we are. And if you don't know that about yourself, read my book. If she ever happens to experience the other side of this door in sexual union, from the physical to the cosmic, there is no going back. This is true. The initiation, this is the key phrase. The initiation into cosmic orgasmicness literally changes her entire experience of herself and her life. Yes, I'm going to read that again. The initiation into cosmic orgasmicness literally changes her entire experience of herself and her life. And there's a bit in my book, I might read it in a minute, where I speak to this and I say, look, if you're coming for the rapture and you want to claim that for yourself, come. And know it is going to shake your life. It is going to rattle your cage. It is going to rupture all that you thought you knew about yourself and that was keeping you safe. It is not for the faint-hearted, but it is for those who wish to be liberated and live to their greatest and fullest potential. Sexually and spiritually, they are one. For a woman, sexuality and spirituality are one. Anyway, I've gone off from the quote, coming back to Chris Bale. A man of understanding will actively seek out a woman of such capacity as he knows of the nourishment she blesses his life with. While for the immature, undeveloped man, this woman tends to trigger and scare the shit out of him. I think I've done that quite a few times. In many cases, he avoids her, as her rapture exposes his sleepiness, uncertainty, and lack of clarity in himself. Yep. What do we want, ladies? Shiva. What is Shiva? Unwavering. Clarity, integrity, honesty, commitment, direction, purpose. That's what we want. Presence. I'm going to say a little bit more about that in a minute. A man's role within the relational dynamic is to initiate a softening and arousal in her being by how he moves around her. Unfortunately, most women are having to turn themselves on in their intimate relationships, as there is very little arousing about the modern man. She longs to be evoked, yep, giving her body and soul something worth reaching for. Immature masculinity will always be attempting to desperately close the gap as quickly as possible in his desire to get his sexual needs met. So yes, there is this penetrative energy. We love that. But when we feel like it just wants to penetrate us for its own egoic needs and getting off, that is such a fucking turn off. It's actually quite repulsive. For this reason, she rarely gets the opportunity to reach for him anymore. He's either chasing after her or totally avoiding her. Her sensuality exists in between these two poles and can be contacted via artful presence. This is when her sensuality rises up to reach for more, and then more, and then more. The nature of her rapture. Beautiful. I mean, so synchronistic that he posted that today, the day before my book launch. And just like everything about that is totally resonant with what I'm here to express, what I'm here to teach, what my book and my course, Rapture, is all about. And I want to add a couple of things. So he's talking about this experience of rapture within erotic union and within partnership and within intimate relationship. And what I want to add to that is that it's not necessary to be in a partnership or to be having sex with somebody to experience your rapture. So you have access to this because it's within you. It's not dependent on a man. It's not dependent on anything external to you. And as long as you're living your sexuality and you're relating in that sense of dependency or looking for it from outside, you know, there's always going to be a weak weakness in a weak chain in the link of your being and your sexual and relational integrity. So you have to know this for yourself, within yourself, in order to be able to then share it with another. And of course, as I also share in my book, experiences with others can trigger this awakening to your cosmic orgasmicness. For sure, that was definitely a part of my journey, was various encounters triggered and activated various things. But to become dependent on that is a very dangerous thing. Because as I also did, and as I've also shared, wild orange, you know, this makes us, if we begin to project God onto the man that we're having sex with, if we begin to project God onto our beloved, then we are giving our power away. So yes, this is for you. This isn't dependent on anybody else, and it's also not in any way related to your age, to your size, to your shape, any of those things, which again are part of the lies that the programming tells you, that you're supposed to look a certain way, you're supposed to move a certain way, you know, that you're only attractive, radiant and sexy when you're a particular age, you know, and like you can't be sexy when you're a mum and you can't be sexy when you're postmenopausal. Bullshit. I was a super sexy mum. I'm a super sexy menopausal woman. It's like, it's bullshit. It's programming. It's just to contain the power of the true feminine, right? So your rapture is available to you wherever you are in your life. Doesn't matter how much money you've got, doesn't matter what you do for a living, all these outside external trappings that the masculine thinks are important are utterly irrelevant. And there's a story in my book that I tell about, that really highlights that. And I'm just going to sniff some ylang ylang now. Oh, actually, no, I've got the wrong one. I've got bergamot. I don't want that. That's not rapturous for me. So we're riffing. We're riffing on rapture. I'm going to read a quote from my book. Actually, I don't know if I need my glasses. Let's see. I can do it without them. So I just read to you a little bit from Chris Bale. Now I'm going to read to you from my book. And this is from the chapter called You Are Designed for Pleasure, chapter 6. Here we go. Here's what I'd love for you to know about yourself. And I'm talking to you, woman. You are designed for pleasure. You are by nature multi-orgasmic and wildly sensual. You have a sexual organ, the clitoris, that is purely there for your delight. In fact, a woman in touch with her essence embodies limitless desire and infinite cosmic pleasure, just like Chris Bale says in his quote, and more and more and more. Flipping the script that has taught you that it's men who are hornier, bullshit. Women can keep going into infinite pleasure on and on and on and on and on. And of course, men can join us there when they learn to master their ejaculation. So, a woman in touch with her essence embodies limitless desire and infinite cosmic pleasure that is both a portal to healing and higher states of consciousness. Your pleasure is sacred medicine, not only for yourself, but for all in your realm. Goddess gifted you the most magical, powerful, sensitive body, which she animates with her breath and shimmering life force. Every single sense is a portal to bliss and awakening. And when you are able to feel with fullest presence, there is an orgasmicness to life, which may be triggered by the simplest of things. The scent of a rose, well, I've got lilies today. The scent of a lily, the kiss of the sun, the song of a bird, the intake of breath. That's just a little quote from my book, Rapture. Rapture. Rapture, right? I'm just gonna, do I want to do those? Yes, I want to give a couple of examples, I think. When I started on this path, it was with this seeking outside myself. And so I could never judge anyone who does that, because that's how we all start, And over time, the experience of the erotic has become more subtle and more spiritual and capable of being all the way out or all the way in. So we begin to experience in true tantric nature, in true tantric way, that outside and inside is not separate. That going up takes us down and that going down takes us up. That surrendering fully to the polarity of the feminine, surrendering fully to pleasure and immersing ourselves totally in the immediate sensual experience will instantly take us to the opposite polarity. Instantly take us to stillness, oneness, expansion, pure consciousness. This is why Shiva and Shakti, masculine and feminine, are dancing eternally together. Yeah. The masculine pole, that presence that Chris talks about, how we long to be penetrated by that. And I can certainly tell you stories about sharing sexual energy with a man across a room and having energy orgasms, sharing energy from one city to another city within the UK, sharing energy from one side of the world to the other side of the world, and experiencing cosmic orgasm within my body. So all of this is possible. But once again, we don't need, but this is not to in any way, I'm not sort of saying it's not great to have a relationship or it's not great to desire to be in a relationship. I'm not saying that, but I just want women to understand that you are sovereign in your sexuality and you can experience this orgasmicness for yourself. And it's really important that you claim it for yourself and don't wait for someone to come and wake you up, right? This is your journey. This is your sexual energies. This is your life, your pleasure, your power, right? So yes, we have those experiences with others and it's wonderful. And just to give you one example, just the other day I was in deep meditation with my women's group. We sit and meditate deeply together every Tuesday for 2 hours, and we go in somatically, we go in through the body, and we include every sensory experience, deeply, profoundly. Every emotion, every movement of energy, every thought, everything that's active in the body is included in this meditation. And then we also access the place of profound stillness, the place of the void, the place where there is nothing, no thought, no sensation, nothing. We also access that place and then experience the merger of the two. This is a really simplified description of the process, right? So the other day, and it's always different, but for me, when I go into meditation, so eyes closed, body's completely still, being that way, it is orgasmic, it is rapturous. It is the meeting of the masculine and the feminine within me, you know, and in that, there's the returning to the center point. And I experienced this in a really profoundly erotic way the other day when sitting in meditation and we were working with masculine and feminine energies and masculine and feminine. And I was experiencing my feminine energy as this pure outpouring of unconditional love from the heart chakra that was just filling the space, filling the world actually, just flowing out love, ecstatic love, like a heart orgasm, just flowing out, flowing out, flowing out. Orgasmic heart, orgasmic heart. In fact, those words were coming to me, orgasmic heart, orgasmic heart. And then as we were guided to just check in and see where the masculine was, I experienced this sense of my inner masculine being behind me and penetrating the back of my heart with his Shiva lingam. And it was utterly, utterly, utterly orgasmic, right? So we can access such subtle levels of ecstatic experience within our body-mind as a result of journeying on this path of rapture, which may start, as mine did, from the desire to heal a broken marriage, from the desire to merge sex and spirit, from the desire to expand my sexual pleasure, from the knowing that there had to be more, trying to figure out how to relate more consciously, you know. So that's how my journey onto this path started. And it just keeps unfolding and unfolding and unfolding more and more. But I'll tell you something, the more I've been able to access this true nature, connection to source, oneness, bliss within my being, the more my gifts have come online, the greater my capacity to hold space, the truer my being and the more authentic my showing up, the more powerful and potent my words, the greater my capacity to access cosmic channeled wisdom. These are my gifts. Well, they're not even mine actually. These are the gifts that come through me. And what I want to say to that is, for any woman watching, and I've spoken to this in previous lives, as well as individually with clients, you know, the conditioning of our society sets up this thing within us of the inner critic. It sets up this thing within us of comparison. It sets up this thing within us of like, I'm not doing it right. She's having that experience. I'm not having that experience. What's wrong with me? I can't be doing it right. I'm no good. I'm a failure. Like blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. But I mean, I say blah-de-blah, but actually this is really powerful because it's present in so many people, and it's a pleasure blocker. It's a blocker to your rapture when you go into that mindset, right? And again, it comes from the patriarchal imprint, which is competitive, which is hierarchical, which thinks that status matters, that thinks that your external appearance matters, that thinks that you need validation or accolades to be worthy, like all this fucking bullshit, right? But what I want to say, and that's really important for every woman to know and to hear, there is no right way for your sexual energy to unfold and move within your body. There is no right way for you to live your orgasmicness. It is for you to discover. It is for you to tap into. And the whole point of this is that the more you access your rapture, the more your unique human signature and unique feminine and spiritual gifts are going to come forth and be expressed into the world. Every single one of us unique, just as each of these beautiful blooms is unique, right? And we all bloom at different times. Some of us are like right there, right now. Some of us are there, still closed in the bud. Some of us are like that, right? And every single expression is perfect. Every single expression is divine. So stop looking at what somebody else is doing and how they're being and feeling envious and comparing. Be yourself, claim your rapture and shine that into the world. The world needs this so much right now, more than anything. With everything that's going on in the world, what is needed, this is just my opinion obviously, more than ever is our light, is our love, is our true receptivity, is our compassion, is our fierceness, is our integrity, is our authenticness, and it is the power of these gifts which connect us with the divine, with the all that is, and enable us to bridge divides, to feel and have compassion for others, whatever their views and perspectives, and also allow us to connect in with wisdom that can be channeled through from spirit to guide us and others on our paths. This wisdom is sorely needed in a world where the leaders are so fucked up and disconnected from any knowing, right? This is needed. Come, claim it. Step in. The world's waiting. Right, well, that's a bit of a riff. I think that's it. I think I'm going to leave it there. Could go on, but yeah, that feels like a wonderful resting place. So, okay, let me just finish with the important things. So, Rapture, a guide to sexual and spiritual awakening for women, goes on sale on Amazon tomorrow. I would love you to purchase this, not only to support me, but primarily for you to invest in your pleasure, to invest in your empowerment, to invest in your growth, to invest in your sexual, spiritual expansion, to invest in becoming more of you, right? And to bring this energy into the world, the ecstatic energy that is so needed, the divine feminine, right? When the divine feminine isn't present in the world, as all the ancient myths of yoga tell us, the world shrivels and dies and becomes dull and boring and bleak. We need her in the world. So yes, the book goes on sale tomorrow. I've got a book launch event. Join, I think the link is there, the Rapture book launch group, to come and join all the fun. So we've got a whole day. We've got live music with two amazing women. We've got card readings, we've got book readings, and then you can have access to 3 classes with me, a yoga class, a tantric meditation class, a dance class, and prizes, including, of course, a book, but a lot more. One of the biggest prize that's going to be on offer tomorrow within that launch event is a discounted place on my Rapture course that starts on October the 28th. All you have to do is be in the group at those specific times when the prize draws are. We'll be doing Facebook Lives with all the music and so on, and the links for the classes will be posted in that group and nowhere else. So you have to be there to join. And I think that's everything. My aim is, yes, I am going to state this. It feels a little bit scary to state it, but let me state it from the heart. I've longed to be a published author, and I love writing, and this has been, you know, my part of my soul's journey writing this, and I would love this book to be a bestseller. I would love it to become known in the world. I would love that to happen. And so, yes, I would love your support in that, whether energetically, whether through buying the book, whether through spreading the word and telling people, whether buying the book and giving it to someone else. I would just love your support with that. And, you know, I'm having to really learn to receive. That is still part of my learning. So thank you. And thank you to everyone who has supported me all the way through the last 10, 15, 20 years. Thank you to everyone who's been watching me on this journey, and see many of you tomorrow. Lots of love. Namaste.